Likening. This means comparing God to the creations. Tashbih is believing that Allah is similar to his creations in some or all ways. And it is likening his self or his attributes to that of the creation, to the self or the attributes of the creation. Tashbih, it is a type of shirk, paganism. Its people are called mushabbiha, the likeners or the comparers. And they exist among Shiites, Khawarij, and others. So this is not just one group called mushabbiha, that's it. The mushabbiha transcend sects, even Mu'tazila, like those of Basra, who said that Allah's will recurs in his self, starts and stops. Some people believe that since things are always happening, that God changes, because they say he created this, and then he created that, and then he created this, and then he created that, so they believe that he's starting and stopping and doing things in time. That's tashbih, likening God to the creations. Rather, he makes things happen by an eternal will. Without a beginning, things come into existence in their times according to his will. Yani, let me say that again. Without a beginning for his will, without a beginning for his decree, things come into existence by their own times, in their assigned times. The Mu'tazila, they also likened his speech to the speech of the creations by saying that it's a characteristic that dwells in bodies. The Mu'tazila here. They said the speech of Allah is something that comes out of created bodies. Allah speaks through that body. That's tashbih, that's blasphemy. And the likeners are sometimes referred to as al-hashwiyah. That means ramblers, nonsense talkers. Abu al-Muzaffar said that the Hishami Shiites are the origin of tashbih in the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and that they took it from the Jews. There are two groups of them, of Hishami Shiites. The group of Hisham ibn al-Hakam, who said that Allah is a light that sparkles from all directions, like a bar of pure gold, or like a white pearl. And that his height, they say Allah's height, is 7 handspans of his own hands. So a handspan is from your pinky to your thumb. They said Allah is as tall as 7 handspans of his own hands. So that's explicit tashbih. And the group of Hisham ibn Salim al-Jawaliqi, those are the other group of Hishami Shiites. This one who said that Allah has the image of a person, but his upper half is hollow and his lower half is solid. He also confirms for Allah flesh, blood, a head with black hair, hands, feet, nose, ears, eyes, mouth, and a heart, which is a source of wisdom. He claimed that wisdom spouts from his heart as water springs from a spring. If those likeners believe Allah has a body, they are called mujassima. So mujassima means bodifiers, people who make God out to be a body. Mujassima, the people who believe that God is a jism. If they believe he is in a direction, they are called jihawiyah, people who believe that God is in a direction, or they believe in the direction of God, or God's direction, quote unquote. They're called jihawiyah from the word jiha, which means direction. If they believe he has a voice or makes a sound, they are called sawtiyah, from the word sawt. Sawt means voice or sound. So the Wahhabis are all of those. Wahhabis are mujassima and jihawiyah and sawtiyah. If they believe that God dwells within the bodies of his slaves, they are called hululiyah, so-called God bodies. They believe that God dwells in his slaves. Sheikh Jamil Halim said that their creed originates from the Christians who believe that God dwelled in Jesus. For there was no one among the Muslims with such a creed. Originally, Muslims were not believing in this hululiyah. Muslims still don't believe in that. But people attributed or affiliated with Islam, we're not talking about God bodies. It's not from the Prophet. It's not from his companions. That's from Christians. And whoever believes such a creed would not be a Muslim. It was said that some of them, the Hululiyah said, that had the Christians generalized, they would have been correct. But since they specified that dwelling to Jesus, they are mistaken. What is mentioned in the books of Muhyiddin Ibn al-Arabi is confirmed fabrication. He's not a person who believes in God bodies. If they believe that he is one with the world, if those likeners believe that God is one with the world, then they are the people of Ittihad. That means what's called pantheists. They claim that Allah unified with the world and that the human can purify himself until he merges with Allah. Whoever believes that the world in totality is Allah confirms godhood for the dog, the sandals, and the devil, and even more than that, for the feces and the urine. The last two groups move under the guise of being Sufis, the so-called God bodies, and those pantheists. They come in the disguise of Sufis. Wahhabis, they come in the disguise as Sunnis. Pantheists and so-called God bodies come in the disguise of Sufis. And Shiites, they don't come in disguise. They just come as themselves. They are refuted by the saying of Allah, Kullu shay'in halikun illa wajha. Everything shall be annihilated except his wajh, his self. So then, he is not one with the world. And he does not dwell in anything. Some Shiite cults have worshipped Ali and the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, like the Khattabiyah. They also said that Abu al-Khattab al-Asadi is a god. And some Shiite cults have worshipped other than this person. Wa subhanallahi wa bihamdihi.